This is great banana bread. This is my fourth piece. Actually, it's mine. No sharing. You won't like it because it's just horrible. And it's all for me. It's first bite. It's first food. Delicious.
If you love the banana bread, show a big smile.
Stop!
My mother used to look at cake batter, and from the outset, she can tell before it goes into the oven if it's going to be a success, meaning light, flavorful, moist, and fluffy. There are basics to cake making, for it is nothing short of the right proportion of ingredients that make the cake to give it structure, moisture, and most of all, flavor. Now, this cake is something that came out of my mind while I was shopping and found some overripe bananas. Knowing that I have the basic ingredients for cake, plus some leftover desiccated coconut that's been sitting in my pantry for quite some time, I altered this recipe right on the spot. So how did I come up with the ingredients, and in what proportion, and the procedure? To proceed, let's start with the ingredients, spell out their purpose, and explain as we go along. So for this cake, we need the following. The first set of ingredients are the sugar and fat, which make the cake moist and sweet. 2 sticks or 1 cup of butter. 2 cups of well-packed brown sugar. If one notices the proportion of 1 stick, meaning half a cup of butter, in proportion to 1 cup of brown sugar. This is a very nice proportion that provides the right amount of fat to sugar and makes the cake moist in the end. In terms of flavor, I decided to use brown instead of white sugar, for it has a homier and nuttier taste and less sweet as well. Now, one can use white sugar of course, but one may consider lessening the total sugar by half a cup. The next part are the dry ingredients which give it structure. 2 cups of flour sifted. 1/2 cup of desiccated coconut. Just a comment about the flour. The more flour, the more structure, but be careful. The more flour as well means the stiffer the batter and may retard leavening. It also acts as an absorbent for moisture, meaning the resulting cake may become dry. So in conclusion, I found out that in proportion to the sugar and butter above, usually 2 cups of solid ingredients, meaning flour and other solids such as the coconut in this case, would be perfect in giving the cake structure. The next part are the liquids, which provide moisture along with the fats and of course make it mix well. 1 cup of milk and 2 or 3, in this case 3, eggs. Some ingredients are classified as semi-solid or liquid, in this case the 2 large ripe or overripe Cavendish bananas. The following are the flavorings which give it dimension and character: 1 tablespoon vanilla and 1 teaspoon salt. And what's a cake that's not light? In this case, 1 tablespoon baking soda. Not to forget, 1 tablespoon white vinegar to provide the reaction to the baking soda, releasing its leavening gas. Now one may use baking powder instead, and since baking powder does not require an acid to activate the leavening property, unlike baking soda, you can eliminate the vinegar. Once the ingredients have been determined, we now make the cake. In making the cake, first we have to classify the ingredients according to their solid or liquid properties. Sugar and butter are always together in a process called creaming, which I would explain later. All the dry ingredients are put together as well. So in one bowl, mix the following: flour, coconut, salt, and baking powder or soda. All your liquids are mixed together as well. So, in another container such as a Pyrex measuring cup, mix the milk, vanilla, and later, just before adding to the cake mixture, white vinegar. The semi-solid wet ingredients are a totally different class by itself. In this case, mash the bananas and set aside. Eggs can be classified as liquid but have always been a totally different class as well, so just set aside. Now, on to explain creaming. Creaming is a very important process in making your cake batter. By mixing and fluffing the butter with sugar in medium and later in high speed, the sugar crystals are mixed into the butter and are made smaller in the process. Likewise, the repeated beating adds air into the fat, making it fluffy and light. These air particles are built into the batter, which would later expand as they are heated in the oven, lifting the batter and making the cake light as it should be. So, this is a very important step. You will know that it has enough creaming once the butter is velvety smooth. Now that the creaming is done, it's time to add the eggs, one at a time, mixing with a medium speed each time. The resulting mixture of butter, sugar, and eggs will be very spreadable and velvety. It resembles cake batter, only it doesn't have the structure to make it stand once it's baked in the oven. Now, this is the good time to add the mashed bananas and mix well. With the basic butter, sugar, egg, and banana mixture ready, and milk, vanilla, and vinegar mixed in a Pyrex cup, add now in batches of 2 or 3, alternatingly, the flour mix and then the milk, vanilla, and vinegar mix, mixing each time after the milk mix and end with the milk, vanilla, and vinegar mix. The resultant batter is smooth and somewhat silky in feel. It is somewhat whipped in appearance, knowing that an emulsion has been made with the oils, liquids, and sugar, with the flour giving it structure. Divide this batter in 2 loaf pans that have been lined with the parchment paper and bake in a medium oven of about 325 to 350 degrees for about 50 minutes to an hour. During the baking, be sure not to open the oven door prematurely to test the cake unless one is absolutely sure that the cake is almost done with a crusting that holds it up. The testing of a cake is only done because one wants to know if the inside is still wet, but testing the cake prematurely when the batter is still wet will result in a failed cake. Once the cake is done, remove from the oven, cool to room temperature, and serve sliced with your favorite hot beverage. And need we say more that this is the face of a happy tester and that this is what's left of the cake.